Um, Monday, April 6th, 2026, at 5 p.m. We'll get a request to turn your cell phones down if you would, please. And we'll get a roll call. Megan, please.
Commissioner Ailman,
Here.
Commissioner Heatherington,
Here.
Commissioner Morris,
Here.
Commissioner Francis,
Here.
Mayor Fisher.
Here, please stand, keep your hats off, pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing, please.
Gracious God, even though we may seem homogenous, we certainly reflect faith from many perspectives and sometimes no perspective. But in all things, we understand there is something greater than us, and so we turn our hearts into your hands. We ask that you might bless this council for the work that they do. Certainly for every decision they make, 3 people may agree and 2 may not. So it's difficult work, but they look for the betterment of South Beloit in every capacity. We ask that you might watch over Don and his wife Linda as they're up in Mayo Clinic and seeking some help for some health issues. Watch over each one of our families and guide us in this day and every day. Amen.
Okay, get approval of the agenda, the motion, please.
So.
All in favor? All right, okay, this is gonna be public comment. We actually stand here with your name. You have 3 minutes. This is not a discussion. This is just because this is just in 3 minutes to say whatever you want, talk about whatever you want. Within reason, I guess. But okay, if you guys just raise your hand, I'll call upon you one at a time.
About anything?
You can talk about anything you want.
Okay.
Sure. Because this will be the only time, because this is not a discussion. It's just you talk, that's all it is. All right, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Amy Nichols, and I'm here to talk about the proposal for the fertilizer facility on Elmo. My husband and I are very opposed to it. I think it's more than ways than one, mostly because I think it's going to be. I think people are kind of disingenuous when they're talking about there's not going to be any odor involved in it, or any pestilence or anything else that can come from this. And I'm quite concerned about it. I think in a small community, I know it's a commercial area right there, but there's lots of residences, there's churches, there's schools, there's restaurants. And I feel like this is not the place for it. It needs to be more of an industrial area or in a rural area. I think it's a great idea. I'm not, condoning it, but I don't think it belongs in a small community. I would think that no other community around here would even consider it be put in our community. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Samantha Harrison, South Beloit. Do you need an address? No. Okay. All right. So I'm from the zoning board. Like we were the ones that moved this forward. I'm going to speak specifically on the special use permits for processing and manufacturing. The process that they're using is like lactic acid fermentation. It's not putrefaction. The smells that would be coming from Axiom far supersede anything that would come from that facility. What I do for work is regenerative agriculture and sustainability for dairy. So like I'm very familiar with the process that they're doing. Especially on a small scale because it's anaerobic. So it is without oxygen. So if they did the entire process perfectly from start to finish, with it being lactic acid, it's so much easier to control putrefaction, which is where the smell would be coming from. It would be more of a sweet fish smell of anything because it's processed fresh. And I get like there are concerns, but I mean, if you've ever the wastewater treatment plant at Axiom, especially when they're doing it oils, like when they're cleaning the oil tanks, is putrid. And if people aren't complaining about that, then I don't know why this would be a concern for them.
Thank you. So y'all? Okay, I got I'm gonna say something. you know, we all know up there that we understand. When you run for office, that you open yourself up for criticism. And no matter what level of government you're at. So let me start by saying there's not one council member up here that thinks they're smarter than anybody else in the audience or anyplace else. And all of us, we might have a little more information, and we are not professionals. We're all just regular residents that run for office. Some of us got a little more experience than others, but that's the way it goes. But, although one of us graduated from the city of Southway High School and lives in town, and we've lived here for a lot of years. And we wouldn't do anything that would be detrimental to our residents or the city. And, one of the main reasons we ran for office, all of us, was to give back or to make it better. We didn't run just because we were mad at somebody. I mean, that was part of some of us. But, and there's a small group on Facebook, that, some of them are residents, some are non-residents. Some are past employees, some are employees that were let go or fired. Some are lost elections, but they're very critical of every decision we've made. And that is kind of controversial. And as I said before, they have every right to do that. But, and when we meet with these business owners here that want to start new businesses, first of all, they meet with our development team. They sit down, they discuss what they plan on doing, how they plan on doing it, and what the results should be. Before any item is brought before this council, it usually goes to the zoning board first. The zoning board goes through it. They take out, they pick everything that the business owner says, and they go through it and they discuss it. They make sure it fits into our business narrative, and it also has the guidelines of our codes and laws. And then it'll be sent to the council. And we as council members, it's up to us to do our due diligence by doing research, talk to other communities and how they handle different things, and we talk to professionals, and we talk to other residents. We just don't come here twice a month and raise our hands and sit back down and move on. But what I'm getting at is that I asked the other council members if they plan on running again for office, and some of them said yes, some said no. And I probably won't, but I won't, because not what people said or think about me or anything else, because I care less what they think about me. But the main thing is the biggest complaint that I heard from the people that don't want to run, or that people are debating on running, is a constant complaining and criticizing, and borderline personal attacks, harassment, and even one confrontation in the middle of the street, that they don't want any part of this anymore. So we've had a very successful last few years in the city of South Beloit. We've been very fortunate where we're making money, we're spending the money the proper way. We got our infrastructure, we got our pensions, and this is a good council. I hate to see them guys all leave because of Facebook. And so in conclusion, what I like to tell everybody here is, if you think I'm talking about any one person, I'm not. I'm talking about the group, or could be. But in the fall, in September, they'll be come down here and take out your papers for council. Take out your run for council. If you get so many signatures and get to the most votes, you get a seat up here, and you can sit here and you can make the decision. And I know you'll all be successful. The group will all be successful because they definitely have all the answers so far, and I believe they'll continue. So that's all I got to say. This may be a little fighty, but after I come back from vacation and read some of the things, I really dislike it. But anyway, so all right. Approval, done with public comment. Approval of the minutes, regular council meeting held on March 23rd, 2026. Get a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Board of Officers, approval of the claims to be paid between March 21st, April 3rd, 2026 for the amount of
$300,936.52. Motion. Second.
Megan, please.
Commissioner Raymond,
Yes.
Commissioner Heatherington,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes. Yeah, attorney report,
This evening.
no report. Okay, we'll go with, our city administrator, Sonia, what do you got to say today?
I just have a couple things for you, Mayor. Thank you. The first is we have completed our post-tax billing again. I just want to thank Jennifer. She put in a lot of hours in the last couple of months to transition into that new process. So the bills that our residents received will now not come in the typical envelope. It might look just a little bit different. That's because they're being printed out of house. They're being stuffed out of house, sealed out of house, brought to the post office out of house, and then shipped to our residents. So our bills will look a little bit different. Just wanted to let everybody know that. And then also speaking of mailing, we're working on getting a community survey out. It is now live. I just put a few posters or flyers over by the door. We're going to start a heavy campaign of putting out our community survey for our strategic plan. We really need people who are interested in serving either in a stakeholder group to reach out directly to staff or to, at a minimum, fill out that community survey. So it is about a 10 to 15 minute ask, but it is critical for our future. 109 years and we've never had a strategic plan. It is time for us to pour into what you'd like to see more of, less of, how you'd like to see our funds spent differently, et cetera. So it's an opportunity to voice all of your concerns and ideas. It's also completely anonymous. So please encourage everyone to fill that out. Whether you work here, live here, do business here, you're all welcome to complete the survey. So we're going to be campaigning that pretty hard. Those will be due on April 27th. And it is Chiefs' quarterly report or monthly report, whatever you want to call it.
That's
it. Give you the best you can report. Thank you.
All right, I will whip through these real quick. And if you got any questions, please feel free to stop me and ask. For the first quarter of this year, January to March, South Beloit responded to 252 incidents. Since we took over March 11th, in 20 days. In the 20 days, we responded to 60 incidents. In about several of those, we've had to take majority of the crew to the hospital, which that left us with one person back. So luckily, it hasn't caused too much of an issue. But the crew has done. We've had one thing I've noticed is even though used to more incidents, the ones that we've been responding to are significant in medical. One of our medics pushed one of the meds that I do believe haven't been pushed yet since which is called Norepinephrine. So the patient was bad enough that the crew recognized the seriousness and they were able to push this drug out in the field. So we've had some really success just in that short amount of time. Very impressed with our crews, what they experienced and being able to recognize some of these situations. So we're very fortunate with the crews that we have. Our incident and EMS reporting update. We were missing a number of incident reports. A number of those have been re-entered. This is previous to March 11th. Just oversights, whatever happened. Some of our EMS reports were kicked back due to missing with the Medicare and Medicaid. That wasn't, I believe, renewed. So you get a change of administration. Some things get forgotten, and the communication side, it happens. There's a lot of things that go on internally that the board isn't aware of, kind of the intricate parts of how everything operates. So I definitely got to give Nick kudos for doing self-auditing and working with everybody that he was able to track a lot of these things that were missing or needed to get rectified. So a lot of the, I would say 50% of the incident reports are caught back up. A number of the ones that were kicked back from EMS reports due to the Medicare, Medicaid, and so coding, those have been rectified. And then some clerical errors. So kudos to Nick and the crews for getting that taken care of. Our response times, we've noticed, or another thing is tracking. Since March 11th, our response times have increased or better by 68%. A number of things that can factor into that is PSAPs, the communication between Winnebago and Rock County can delay some of that stuff. But since March 11th, at least we know internally what we've been keeping track of. Like during my interview, I brought up that I was very picky about data, the good data that goes in, you get the good data that comes back up. And we are 100% compliant since March 11th. So, again, the crews are working to get us caught back up with, that. JPRs, it's job performance requirements. We had to do, our crews had to do at least 18 different JPRs, to get us up to snuff to be able to respond on the fire side. Just in that short amount of time, that's 180 tasks for each, or for all of those JPRs. That's for one person. So all the crews in that short amount of time, worked a lot of time to get us to where we're at now. So there's a lot of time, I'll say invested in that. We need to keep track of those GPRs, so it's nothing that's gonna go away. You know, every day when we're doing training, we have to keep track of that, OSHA, NFPA, all of that stuff. It's good documentation, and then with ISO. So, we're gonna keep following that and keep that documentation. We updated our mission, vision, value statement, in line with, how we are today. We've done some minor changes to the website. We'll continuously do that and definitely push the PR to our Facebook. So the more PR we get out there, the better. And we've been pushing really hard for that. All of our 49 air pack models have been hydro tested. We got those back and everything's in service. As of March 24th, our Wisconsin Medicaid was approved. The claims, we're told two different stories, that the claims went back to March 2025, that we're able to try to recuperate the funds. I received a letter today, that was showing it was only to November of 2025. So I'm gonna reach out to that rep and see where the discrepancy is for that 8 months. But we're trying to recapture as much of that revenue that we missed out on because of that. The ladder truck, last Friday, the cylinders were completed. Tomorrow morning at approximately 11 o'clock, the company will be here to reinstall the cylinders. I don't anticipate it being done tomorrow, so hopefully Wednesday we'll get the ladder back in service. That's our goal, so hopefully it works out. The boats, now that we're getting into that season, Nick and the crew, they went through and there's a bunch of wiring that had to be repaired. They got that taken care of, the boats run great. Engine 2034, or engine, both our engines, there's some of the pump gauges that are at levers that need a lot of TLC, so we're working on that to get those taken care of. So they've been sitting for a while and you don't get them exercised. So we want to make sure, especially that the gauges are working properly. A couple of the generators are going to need repair the saws and fans. Working on a smoke detector program to align with the risk reduction for the city. So we've got it in the draft mode right now. Hopefully that'll be done soon. Now with the Winnebago County 911 supervisor, we updated our response plan. Currently we have 107 different incident types that we'll respond to. So we're working with the county. They're going to separate from the city of Rockford. Before, what they call the G2, what we get alerted in software, was part of the city of Rockford. So now the county is separating from that. That gives us more, I'll say, administrative rights for the county itself to work with this and not just going through the city of Rockford. They kind of had their own way of doing stuff and things for the county. You can have a lot of, I'll say so. So the county separating from that, and we'll get that updated as well. So anyways, we get that in line with our response. Our breathing apparatus and our cascade system, I'm almost done. We're supposed to have air quality tests. So when we're filling up the air packs or the air bottles, the air that was pumped into those bottles, you need to have those tested. So that's 4 times a year, and the cascade system didn't get, preventive maintenance last year. So that's gonna be done, it was supposed to be done last week, the tech called off, so sometime, I'm hoping that he's gonna be in there this week. So that way we know that the preventive maintenance is good with the system, and then we have documentation on our air quality tests. Because we don't want to fill those bottles with crappy air. So it's gonna be filtered and all that other stuff, so we'll have reports on that with our quarterly air tests. We're reviewing as far as hose testing this year, getting a company to come in here and do it. They bring in about 10 to 12 people. It can be done in a day or two. Whereas if we did it with 3 people on shift, it'll take at least a week. And then you try to factor in training the calls that we have to go on. And then you got hose laying all over the place, so it's something that I've utilized in previous departments. So I'll bring it up to you, when it comes to that. CAD integration. We're gonna be tying in with the Winnebago County. Whenever the CADs get updated, we don't get any information until basically the call's over. With the integration, the time will get updated and it'll get stamped. This is very good, especially for the legal aspect. If something happens and you have a discrepancy in times, it'll be automatically put into the tower. So it's just a fail safe. So, and then the last one, the big ticket order. Our personal protective equipment. Right now we have 35 sets of gear. Our average expiration date on the PPE or the coats is November of 2022. The pants is July of 2024, and then the gloves and the boots, we're looking at March of 2022. So we're 3 to 4 years expired average. There's some of the gear that's usable, but a majority of it is past its expectancy. That's where we want to give heads up to the board, and I think we sort of discussed that in the last board meeting. Is we're at I want to tell you the exact price here. That's for 11 sets a year. We're at $50,922.45. The quote when we put all this together is through Dingus. And the area departments that utilize this equipment right now is Rock, Cherry Valley, Belvedere, Delaware, and Bio. But one thing is with this, they have a proprietary, it's called ISO drive. To bore you, but this is one thing that's important is the outer garment, everybody uses the same. The interior side of it, which is the moisture barrier, this is where it's different. The one thing that's bleeding with the Dingus plus with the source well, it pulls this moisture away from your body, and that alleviates a majority of it. Steam burns, it keeps you cooler, so you get a little bit more time working with on the incidents. So that's the key component is the interior shell of the gear. And you know, I've worked with them for many years over the past, but the key part of it is that proprietary portion of it is what that ISO drive interior part will pull that moisture away. A lot of times you'll have it to where you're walking around the scene or the scene, and that water starting to creep up on your gear and works its way up. This helps keep that pulled away as much as possible. So that's the one key point that I wanted to present to the board is how important that internal shell is for our personnel. There's more expensive and it's cheap. A number of these departments are utilizing it. That's why I wanted to bring it to your attention with that. And they do their with source well, that's the what?
The bid process.
Bid process. Thank you. So with that to keep, we're looking at 6 to 8 weeks before that would come in. So that's what I'm part of my report. Now, is there any? Oh, that's it.
What did you say?
I went down the letter and there's more, but I'm not gonna go over any more, but It's,
pleasure to have a nice report from my fire department, believe me, but, could you introduce the guys that are here?
oh, I'm sorry. We have Nick, obviously, everybody knows him, Alan and Kevin. How you doing? Glad to have him here.
Welcome to South Florida. But, you were doing real good to get there the last time.
You know what, that's what I wanted to make sure you guys were aware as far as
No,
the life expectancy of what we had and stuff. And we're trying to prioritize our list. That is the one that I gotta get these guys. And I hate to bring that one up, but
we got two ex-firemen in here. So
Oh, that's
they'll
right.
take care of you.
you know, does anybody have any questions on that? I mean,
I just want to reiterate what the mayor said, which is it's nice to have boards here. Yes.
well, I mean, you're gonna continue to get that, and you know, if it wasn't for our crews, I mean, we're very fortunate, and I'll say it every meeting or every time. I wanna make sure that they're always recognized for everything that they do, because we wouldn't be to this point in a short amount of time if it wasn't for them.
And I want to say thank you. You have been behind the scenes doing a lot that public doesn't know. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. We do need it too. And, like I said, usually it's a downer, but this is an upper, so it's great to hear that report. Thank you, chief.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on, and, anybody else? You done?
No, I'm just cold.
I didn't want, oh, I don't know.
It's good. Everybody get a 10 here.
I didn't want to interrupt anything. Okay.
Thanks for turning in.
Okay, our correspondence, we're gonna proclamation declaring April 6, 2026 as Purple Up Day. American Legion Purple Up Day for the military children proclamation. Whereas American Legion, since its founding in 1919, has devoted much of its talent, effort, and resources to instill conditions for our nation's youth, and whereas Americanism, children and youth programs with American Legion provide settings and permit children to realize and achieve their full potential. And whereas American Legion Auxiliary has labored unselfishly to achieve a goal through the untiring effort, dedication, and leadership, devotion to the overriding principles of the benevolent programs, and whereas purple indicates the color of all military branches combined, Army green, red, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Space Force blue. Therefore, we are asking all communities to honor the military children on this day and wear purple to support military children. Therefore, I, Thomas Fitzgerald, Mayor of City of South Beloit, don't I do hereby proclaim that April 15th became the 15th day of April 2026 and Purple Up Day. American Legion family recognized the military children under its children and youth program for the entire month of April. Whereas wherefore I here to set my hand and cause to affix the official seal of South Beloit, Illinois, the 6th day of April 2026. Anybody here? But it's a good thing. More football, that's
15.
15th, that's good. All right. Now moving on to, new business. Discuss approve ordinance number 2907, section 10, base district intent regulations, uses of chapter 118 zoning regarding production, processing, servicing, test, repair, and storage of material, goods, products, special use in commercial retail CR zoning district. Give me a motion, please. So. Second. Okay, I think we're gonna have Shauna just tell us all about this.
So this is the text amendment to add in the language for the production, processing, servicing, and testing, repair, or storage of materials and goods in the as a special use in the commercial retail zone district.
So this is just adding in the wordage.
The language,
That's all it
correct.
does. Add the word, okay, verbiage, okay.
Yep.
Anybody else? Thank you, please.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Prentice,
Yes.
Commissioner Aiden,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson.
No.
And Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes, 4-1 pass. Okay, discuss approve ordinance number 2908, approving a special use permit to allow for the production of soil additives and amendments. The wholesale distribution, therefore, in the commercial retail zoning district 290, Elmwood Avenue, Southwood, Illinois. Motion, please.
So.
Okay.
So this is to allow for a special use in the commercial zoning district. For the production of soil additives and amendments for wholesale distribution.
That's all this does.
This is to allow for a special use, allowing those uses within the uses for the soil amendments and additives in the commercial zoning district, commercial retail zoning district.
And this has given, let's say, it's received a positive recommendation from the zoning board,
That is correct.
ZBA.
That's correct.
Okay, anybody else?
Mayor, also,
Okay,
I just
well,
wanted
Okay,
I just wanted to bring to council's attention also, as council is aware, all special uses in the city of South Beloit are conditioned. This special use is no different. Conditions of this special use are outlined in paragraph 2. So it would be items A through K. All of those conditions of the special use, including the sampling manhole, the installation of the flow meter for discharge, the work in connection with the sewer superintendent, all those conditions would need to be met in order for the operation of the business to occur in the city of South Beloit.
yeah, well, I talked to Jeff and that, oh, go ahead.
Can I also add, this special use does not permit any business to go in this space. This special use is to allow a use to continue to to proceed to the next step. So even though if a text amendment is approved, then the special use is the next item to be able to be heard. If that is approved, that allows for an applicant to file an application for a potential business. The business still has to go through the permitting process, just like any business within the city of South Beloit does. It has to go through the application process, the review process, the site plan, the business narrative, all of the things, and then the inspection. Was one day.
And with this, Jeff would test the sewer and everything else under discharge and all that,
It would be a full
so
inspection.
to make sure that, right.
My question, if we adopt this ordinance, this is not saying we're gonna open up that business, that's gonna have to come back before us, because I have some concern with the old situation in regards to that. If I, okay, this ordinance here, I wanna make sure that I've still got vote on the operation itself when that comes forward.
So the business license itself doesn't come back for the approval from the council. Is
Okay.
what the special use does. By having a special use in place over a business, over a property, or any of the things, it adds an extra layer. So instead, like when somebody receives a notice of violation, they have a certain amount of time to correct that violation. Then if they don't, they go to administrative hearing or what have you. Now, when you have a special use, you have your list of conditions at any time. If anything on there is violated, they don't get all of the extra steps. It goes straight into the application process. So by having a special, by having the special use, it's an added layer of
Regulation.
correct.
Is this where we could add a condition if there's X amount of odor complaints that they would be open for review? If that's the biggest concern with this type of business potentially coming in? Are we able to
That's
write
my
that in?
concern, that's what I'd like to know too.
If it's a condition, can we add?
You know,
I don't know how we would measure that, right? I mean, if we think about it logically, and I think one of the members of the PVC brought this up in public comment. You know, there are a number of odors that come from Maxine Foods. I don't know whether or not we've received complaints from those in the past, but it may be difficult to ascertain whether or not the odors are coming from this business or any of the other food manufacturers that are in the region. So I just don't know how we truly would be able to police that.
Well. We could. I'm thinking if there's foul odor come from someplace, we should be able to stop it. I mean, but this is what I said to Tom today. I said, how would we treat action if they come to town today? And said, okay, I want to start cooking popcorn down. How would we treat that? To me, it was like, are we gonna be so restrictive that we will ever get new business because we're always afraid of something, or are we gonna try it? If there's a smell coming from there, we can take care of maybe be violating some part of this, right, that's what I thought. If there's a smell coming from there, they'll lose their license. I mean, if it's a bad, what if it's a good smell? No, I'm supposed to be sugar. Well, it's supposed to be sugar. They're using sugar and fish. I mean, if you get enough sugar in it.
I think it's pretty hard to echo Attorney Sosnowski's comment. You know, how do you measure an odor? You know, I sell chocolate chip cookies when the wind is right from the cookie factory. You know, it depends on the day. Obviously, I've driven by exiting the bowling alley on the way to my mom's house, and each days I smell that, there's days I don't. I think it's going to be very difficult to try and come up with a way to measure.
I would also say this, if there are problems with this business, there are a number of conditions that have been placed on the special use permit. I believe that it would probably be, you know, something that our city administration is going to be able to ascertain what problem is occurring through any of the number of conditions that have been based on this operation.
I mean, for me, I guess my question is, of course, we want to be as business friendly as possible, right? I mean, that's at least my goal up here. And so second to that is how much revenue will that drive for the city and jobs will it bring for our residents, right? To me, and as the business owner here, we have to ask like how many jobs potentially bring in.
I think it's the future thing.
My name is Adam Albrici. I'm the CEO and business owner. I've started the business from scratch. We do plan on in the future hiring a multitude of people, you know, both on the lower end of job market, all the way up to people that I have to hire in, you know, top scientists of every type of, you know, we're making a bio fertilizer company from scratch. And we are lucky to have a few formulas to start off with. And all of them are very safe, and we plan on keeping all of our future products that safe, or even, you know, if there's other ways to adjust things into the future and create better things, we will do that. But as we transform, we're going to need people. I mean, you know, we're processing an invasive species that we're trying to eradicate, and use capitalism to do so. And in order to do that, you need people to do it. So
The other question I have on this is, I mean, I understand we're bringing in live Asian carp, correct?
you know, they're fished out of the waterway, and they, you know, the fishermen have them on their boat. They're suffocated by, you know, being on the boat, you know, in transport. They're, you know, if a fish could be alive for 12 hours on an open air, you know, it's not really likely, you know, so they're transported as most people transport fish in commercial market, and we, you know, we would be purchasing them and putting them in a closed barrel, or the fishermen themselves would be delivering. And then we process them as, fresher than you would ever receive them from the store, because they're, they haven't even hit a freezer or anything. Because we need all of the live enzymes, the live bacteria on the surface of the fish, within the fish, in order to do this process. And it's just really like, it's a really non-odor process. The most smell that I smell if I chop up a fish is the smell of the river they came from, and not really the fish.
Is the Asian carp currently in the rock? No.
So no,
Okay, so then my next question, I think, I can probably understand what we're going next. Is there any danger of that species of fish from its, what you're bringing in, leaking into the river, and causing aging fish?
We in our processing, we don't use sinks or nothing's hitting the sewer in any way. As we talk to the waste treatment facility, he can vouch for that experience and talking to me. It probably took a little longer than he was expecting. But we want everything from this process. The eggs are a part of what we also are, we're trying to remove a species from the waterway. It's pretty, strange for us to be leaking fish back in. So we really, and the eggs themselves, they provide us with also proteins, which, we're making amino acids. That's our end, sellable main product. And as a fertilizer, that we have to categorize it as technically a fertilizer. And it comes from the entirety. So we don't take fish parts, we don't take rotten fish or processed fish. We buy everything absolutely the most fresh it can possibly be. And usually right now they can't even sell it. Like it's almost the huge majority of it is going to China. They turned off the tap purchase. And so now we have this giant bubble of unpurchasable fish in our water base that will eventually hit the Rock River if we don't have a solution, which we do have a solution to take care of.
What we got negative here? The smell,
If you ask me, it smells good. Yeah. Okay, if
Well,
anybody.
I mean, I researched it, I sat down and went through it,
This process it's not like making fish sauce where they use salt, we use sugars in our process, so the fermentation process is a lot more similar to make it. The smell is honestly, if you really put your face over a jar of this stuff, it smells like an energy drink. Because what people familiarize the smell of energy drinks with is the amino acids that they put in, and not really a flavor that they're adding.
it doesn't help me at all.
Or like they smell like a Monster, Rockstar, or Red Bull. A lot of times that pungent smell you're smelling is the amino acids.
Mayor, can I just ask, is there anyone else in the room besides Samantha and you, Adam, that have witnessed this process or smelled this process or been in the same room with this fruit, any smell?
It does smell sweet as you would expect. It doesn't really smell foul. It's just, it could be, if you're right up next to it, it could be very powerful, but if you step away more than 6 feet, you almost can't smell it. And that's from a 55-gallon drum product.
You don't put nothing on the side.
No,
Yeah.
it's contained in drums.
You would not be permitted to be outside.
That's right, that's what I'm saying, so
It'll
everything,
be in contained lab space.
everything's been contained inside, okay.
I'll see if to account for.
I guess what I would say is that I think when people read this or hear about it, they're picturing a fish. Is my impression. This is science. If you've ever been to carry ingredients, and I've been there for tours and done things, it's science. It's chemistry engineers and people doing science. It's not what you see in a movie of a fish market. It's something.
I think it's worthy because it's something that you can put on your lawn. That won't hurt your animals, but, all right. Well, we can't keep this up, this is, I mean, if you wanna ask him a question, go ahead. If you wanna ask this gentleman a question, go ahead. But this is not a hearing, so we're just.
Have you tried to put it anyplace else? In the other city?
No, I'm starting from scratch. This is the person right next to me would be the person who's the owner of the land of the building. And he's very graciously giving it to me at a very low price. So it's not a price that I could compete anywhere else, you know, and, I don't have any investors. It's just me. I grew up in Rockford, local. I do, you know, a bartender part-time as my, you know, my like ability to build this business. So I put every bit of everything I make into doing this. So this is my absolute beginning for the most part. And just the actual format of creating a real production.
I guess the last question I have, is there another example of this type of facility anywhere within 100 miles of here?
No.
In-
Probably, I could add, it's gonna be, what's it called, Blue Mountains, Wisconsin.
Okay.
It's a similar company. Nature Safe is one of their brands. We did up 2 weeks back, let's get on the packaging. They make similar products from corn waste and other agricultural waste. Distilled into some forms of available amino acids for fertilizer use essentially, so. I can't find the name of the company right off my match.
It's scary ingredients.
We're a food and beverage manufacturer, but we're also in the pharma industry. So like we're heavily into regenerative agriculture, bioscience, what have you. So like anaerobic digestion, composting are like huge bits for us. Like byproduct usage, all of it. So this would be a great example of regenerative agriculture and byproducts.
Yeah, we got a motion, we got a second, so. I want to make sure everybody talked it up, we're gonna vote on it. Megan,
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Commissioner Edelman,
No,
Commissioner Heatherington,
No.
Commissioner Morris,
No.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
yes, okay, that's 2-3, it failed. All right. What we said there, moving on. Discuss approval ordinance number 2909, approving the map amendment to rezone the property known as 620 Blackhawk Boulevard. Southwest Illinois to the CR commercial retail zoning district, CR for public land for institutional zoning district. Motion please.
motion.
Second.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Fine.
So this is for St. Peter's Church. The reason there are 2 items on this is because there are 4 parcels. 2 of the parcels have one name and 2 of the parcels have a different name, so you see 2 different items. This is the church was zoned commercial retail for whatever reason. When they're doing the addition to the property, we noticed that the zoning was not accurate to fulfill everything and to make it more in compliance and follow the ordinances. It needed to be zoned to public lands and institution. And they are putting on an addition to the front of the property. So the vestibule part, they're making it larger to accommodate for their Americans with Disabilities Act. Because the property has been there for so long, the building has been there for so long, it supersedes the zoning ordinances. This will help so that it doesn't meet the setbacks of the current zoning, all of those regulations to make it legally non-conforming. It's almost impossible for them to make the additions that they need to make without the rezoning. So that is going to satisfy everything.
Anything else? Megan, please.
Commissioner Edelman,
Yes.
Mr. Heatherington,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Mayor, we will need to return back to the denial of the special use permit item. because it was voted down, we do need on the record an amendment to the, no, we need on the record an amendment to the findings of fact as to why the special use permit was denied. And I'll remind everyone of the process on this, because I know it's not often that zoning items are denied, at this level. But the special use permit comes before the zoning board of appeals or the planning commission. They establish certain findings of fact, and you will find those in the memo that's attached to the agenda item for ordinance 2908. There's 4 specific findings of fact, and then the findings that the zoning board of appeals found for those items. So for each one of those, we will need to have on the record the reasons why the findings of fact are not met.
And what do we do, ask them?
Yeah, for those that voted no.
Okay. Right now, that's what you want me to do? Okay.
Yeah,
Kenny, for, Kenny vote above the settled of incorporated herein and a part of.
no, it's helping them actually. So there's 4 findings of fact. The criteria for the granting of a special use permit is that the existing land uses and zoning of the nearby property are, conducive to the use that's being proposed. Item number 2 is the extent to which property values would be diminished by the restrictions of the ordinance. Item number 3 is the length of time the property has been zoned, considering the land development in the area. And then item 4 is the care to which the community has planned its land use development. So as you see, in each one of those criteria for the special use permit, the zoning board of appeals or planning and zoning commission, they have identified findings as it relates to each one of those items. So if the matter is going to be voted down, again, I'm just bringing this up for purposes of needing to make sure that we protect the record. We would need to know which one of those findings of fact then the board members who voted no felt weren't met.
See, the existing land uses and zoning of nearby property. I would say, I believe there. Let me start by saying the residential use that's in that facility right now is currently zoned light industrial. I think it's disingenuous of their argument of the smell, considering that property hasn't really been updated ever. However, there are other residents within that area that will have to smell that. And if we can't get a true kind of sense of what that scent will be, that's why I'm voting no.
And I agree with the same.
So to the extent the property values are diminished, if I'm living next to a fish smell, probably gonna have a hard time selling the house. Do I need to keep going?
We just
Just
need
one?
to know what parts of the findings of facts that
Right.
council felt were met.
1, 2, in the care with which the community has planned its land use development. I don't know if having a residential building that's zoned light industrial right now is great, right? I think that example alone spells to the care with which the community has planned its land use development.
I can speak to that. So what that means is would this use be conducive with like the future land use map, for example? And the future land use map does have this property zoned as light industrial.
Yeah.
So keeping it as commercial retail would be a less intensive use.
Yeah, for me, it's 1, 2.
Enough of that.
Yeah.
Discuss approve ordinance 2910, approving the map amendment to rezone the property known as 620 Black Horse Boulevard, Southwood, Illinois, from commercial retail zoning district to public lands. Institutional cluster. Oh.
This is the same, this is for the exact same thing, it's just the other 2 parcels, for the same piece compound.
Megan, please.
Commissioner Headington,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes.
Mayor Fisher,
Yes.
Yes, approve ordinance 2911 authorizing the sale of certain personal property owned by the city of South Florida, get a motion, please.
So moved. Second.
Um,
Mayor, I believe this is another cell phone. Cell phone machine to buy back those.
so far. Megan, please.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Headington,
Yes.
Mayor Fisher,
Yes, that's approved ordinance 6692, grant agreement with the state of Illinois Department of Natural Resources for the FY 2026 Open Space Land Acquisition Development Award. Awards, the motion, please.
So moved. Second.
No idea what we're talking about.
Brandon, do you want to talk on the amendment?
So this is the formal agreement. As you guys are aware, the city of South Beloit was selected, their application was selected to be awarded for the Oslide grant just a couple of months ago, I believe now. This is the formal agreement that the city enters into with the Illinois Department of Transportation that spells out all of the requirements of the grant. Some high level information just for you guys that will be important to know. This sets up the funding agreement and how the funds will be distributed to the city and then reimbursed to the city, because this is a 50-50 participating grant. So the city will have a 50% local match tied to the project. There is timeline requirements, so the city will have to, once the funding agreement is completed, and then sent back to IDNR and fully executed, there will be 2 years from the date of the grant agreement to complete that project. Both, all of the engineering, design, construction, and then the final project closeout documentation and reporting, and audit. This grant was a $1.2 million award, I believe, so a maximum award. So the city will have a $600,000 match as part of that. And then just as a recap, this is for the south of the nature of the confluence. We're calling it the neighborhood park, Charles Street Park. But all of the amenities that were included in the master plan that is included south of Big Kelly Creek. So that's really what we're focusing on for this grant application.
Well, Megan, please.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Headington,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Mayor Fisher,
Yes, that's approved resolution 6693, approving agreement with Background Checks Express, motion, please.
Motion. Second.
I can take this one, Mayor. This will serve as our backup plan. They have an a la carte option where the city has elected 4 or 5 of the different screens out of 30. This is only in the event that our police department does not get back a live scan that we can do in-house. There's still a cost for that, but I believe that the estimate from Background Express was around $60 to $68. Is that right, Megan?
yes.
It was very similar to what we pay for our backgrounds in-house with fingerprinting. It actually might be faster in some occurrences. There are times when the fingerprints come back in a matter of 24 or 48 hours, and there are times where we waited 2 weeks and we still haven't gotten it. The intention behind the paying for Background Express when we need to is to not delay a start date of an employee. If it gets to a point where they're supposed to be starting in a couple of days, or 2 weeks have gone by, and we want to get them started and we still haven't gotten it, Background Express can turn these around in 24 hours.
Cost is similar, you said.
Yeah, very similar to what we pay for the in-house screens. It's around $68.
Megan,
Commissioner Engelmann,
Yes.
Commissioner Headington,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Fisher,
yes, that's approved resolution number 6694, approving agreement with Fred Graham for professional service pertaining to the general wastewater engineering services. Motion, please.
So.
Second.
Yeah,
I'll be board. I reached out to Fair Graham, and it's been really hard for everybody else to track the difference between sewer and engineering and other projects. What I'm proposing is it's not changing anything, it's still the same professional agreement, only it's specifically for the sewer department. All those bills will come through me. They're kind of material type bills. The special projects will be allocated separately but it'll come out of that comes out of my line items. So that way I'll have full knowledge of what those expenditures are, if you have questions, should be able to come to me and should be able to answer to those expenditures. And this is just a way of me inserting myself into involvement in that part of the process. It's not changing the amount of money we're spending in a year or anything like that. Some has already been spent, we'll want to make sure those allocations are correct. And move forward for the rest of the year, and if it works well, I would predict that I'd be proposing it each year. That's next night.
Depends on how we get our sewer project.
We probably could have, but then I wasn't thinking about it either, so just a little bit of my brainchild with the help of Brandon and Tyler from Fairground.
And the way that works now, Mayor, when we get bills, if it's dicey or any similarities, we kick them back to Fairground and ask them to designate which projects certain things were. We've also asked for project codes, and sometimes we can actually insert project codes, make sure that we pin it to the right. It's hopefully going to alleviate some extra steps on our end to make sure that we're properly allocating projects to the right account.
That I'll alleviate that.
Okay, anybody else?
Any questions?
Thank you, please.
Mr. Henning,
Yes.
Mr. Morse.
Yes.
Mr. Francis,
Yes.
Mr. Edelman,
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes, that's approved resolution number 6695, approving the inspection agreement with Flow Tech Incorporated for preventative maintenance inspections of sulfur free HSP 2500 turbo compressor. Motion.
Second.
Like it's pretty important.
We've used them 3 years in a row. The sulfur blowers are what provide air in our treatment plant, so we don't have problems now. That aids the process, the biological process, the treatment plant. They're very, very expensive to replace, and we've been using them to make sure that we maintain them for a very, very long time. They come out once a year. Last year, there was bigger expenditure because we had to purchase new battery backups for them. That's once every 5-year type process. So this will be them hooking up to a box that communicates with a gentleman in England that is available to make sure that everything works well, as well as the local company to make sure everything's hooked up correctly and they're communicating that whole time. It usually takes about 1 day.
Motion.
Mr. Morse,
Yes.
Mr. Francis,
Yes.
Mr. Edelman,
Yes.
Mr. Henning,
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Discuss approved resolution number 6696. Retro approval of renewal partnership with Bruce Nichols Boys Club for Boys and Girls Club for the Teen Reach program in the Southwest Police Department. Get a motion, please.
Motion. Second.
I can take this one. We did a call around on this about a week ago, maybe a little bit more there. Usually the Teen Reach funding is a state program that the Southwood Boys and Girls Club receives funding through. This is just our police department showing support. So it doesn't cost us anything. It's just basically a supporting letter, but it comes in the format of an agreement. So it needs to be approved by council. But this was fully approved in a call around, and now we're retro approving the signed agreement that Chief Sherman did already sign and submit to the Teen Reach program.
Thank you, please.
Mr. Francis,
Yes.
Mr. Edelman,
Yes.
Mr. Henning.
Yes.
Mr. Morse,
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes, discuss approved resolution 6697, appointing a member of Board of Police and Fire Commission. Get a motion, please.
Motion. Second.
And that's would be Rob McKay, 9. Member is Tracy Patrick.
That's right.
How about that? Getting enough of this place, huh?
She's been very involved in that, all the things, all the boards. So we wrote her in to a couple of different things. We're also going to be on a stakeholder group for our strategic plan and pour into it.
Commissioner Ailes,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes. So for resolution number 6698, approving vacant and Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund agent for the city of Southwest.
Motion. Second.
Appreciate the involvement.
Commissioner Henderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Francis,
Yes.
Commissioner Ailes,
Yes.
and Mayor Fitzgerald.
Yes. It's motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.